Hello students, welcome to MGC Learning Subject English topic Degrees of Comparison. Yes, degrees of comparison, adjectives and adverbs. Let's first of all see which type of different questions can be asked on this topic in our exams. Questions you could be asked are number 1 multiple choice, questions on gap filling, sentence completion, dialogue completion. Number 2, you could be asked to reordering sentences. And number 3, editing omissions. And last, number 4, finally, transformation. Believe me, all these four can be done by a very simple method and a very simple shortcut that I will teach you today. Before, what do we need to know how to solve all these types of questions? We need to know only two things. One, how to recognize the positive, the comparative, and the superlative. And number 2, how to change from one to the other without changing the meaning of the sentence. So, my dear students, here we go to the next slide. Let's start to do the degrees of comparison. By this method, this is a very simple method to teach you a degrees of comparison. Let me tell you all the three degrees positive, comparative, and superlative are accompanied by this method, and without this method we cannot change the degree. For example, if I just say Radhanath is old, change the degree. I did not ask you whether it is true or false. If I just say Radhanath is old, change the degree. Students, you cannot change the degree, but if I add the two methods, Radhanath is as old as Mount Everest. Now you can see the two methods for the positive degree are as. In this between, as we need to fill adjective or adverb accordingly. In the same way, for the comparative degree, the methods are er, then, and in the same way. For the superlative degree, the method is the est. Here, if I say Radhanath is the oldest, the question is oldest what? It's a wrong English, but Radhanath is the oldest teacher. Now, not only I have the correct superlative degree, but I can change it from superlative to comparative or positive. So, let's get down to it how we are supposed to change from one into the other without changing the meaning of the sentence. Okay, let's move further to the next slide. Let's start. Here we are. Take a sentence. Radhanath is the oldest teacher. I had told you that, right? Now, is this sentence is the positive or in the comparative or in the superlative? Dear students, as you saw clearly in the slide, the EST is superlative, right? If I want make this sentence from superlative to comparative, all that I need to do is I have to remove the method and the EST and make it older, and of course the method for comparative degree er then. If you change sentence, the method will also change along with the degrees. So my comparative becomes Radhanath is older than any other teacher. As you can see on your screen, what I have done, my dear students, very simple. You can see here is comparative becomes old, is older, and you can also see there is a then. Now, if I want to make the same sentence in the positive degree, very simple. You can have look on the table the in the superlative. After then, any other, all other in the comparative, and our positive will start with no other, none. But here, students, don't forget the when the sentence change, the methods will also change with the degrees. To make it positive, all I need to do is start with no other or none, but as the same time older than will becomes as old as. Here is your answer. No other teacher is as old as Radhanath. This is type 1. Type 1 is very simple if it is in the positive. And how do I recognize positive? As. If in the positive is you see no other or none, you change that sentence into comparative by using then, and after that any other or all other, and you make that same sentence superlative by using the only, the before the superlative. Now let's look at the type 2. Here we are, Radha Nath is one of the oldest teacher. Now this is superlative. How do I know? Because of one of the and est. Now the question is, what was the difference between the previous one and this one? Very simple, one of. Yes, the difference is one of. So this is my type 2. Whenever you see one of, then my comparative I have to make it then, and after then many other or most other. Let me give you this answer. Absolutely, in the comparative that will becomes Radhanath is older than many other teacher. Or you can say Radhanath is older than most other teacher. Is the comparative. Obviously you can see the er, and you can see then many other or most other. In this case, if I want to make it positive, will my positive will start with no other or none? Obviously not. As you can see your screen, on your screen, my positive will start with a very few or not many. And don't forget, when the degrees changes, the methods will also change. So I will have very few teachers are as old as Radhanath. Very few teachers are as old as Radhanath. So my dear students, here we are, type 1 is done, type 2 is done. Remove all the examples. What do you see? Type 1, if my positive will start no other or none, then in that case I can easily make that sentence comparative by just using any other or all other. After then I can easily make that same sentence in the superlative by using only the before the superlative. On the other hand, if my positive will start with very few or not many, then my dear students, in the comparative after then I will have many other or most other, and in the superlative I will have one of before the superlative degree. Let's see the next slide. Radhanath is older than Gopal Das. What do we see in this sentence? It is comparative. How do I know? Yes, er is there, but after then I don't have any other, all other, I don't even have many other, most other. I have none of them. Now, if in the comparative I don't have any other, all other, or many other, most other, then if my positive degree is not starting with no other, none, or nothing, in that case, superlative is impossible. You cannot have a superlative degree in this because only a comparison is between two people or two things or two qualities. They cannot be a superlative. In that case, my sentence will go only from the positive to the comparative and vice versa. And for that, I have a simple formula. Swap the two things, swap the two degrees, and swap affirmative and negative. As you can see on the screen, swap the two things, swap the two degrees, and swap the affirmative negative. Now, when is this formula used? So, this formula is used only when superlative is impossible. Now swap two things first. Gopal Das will take place of Radhanath. Radhanath's place, and Radhanath's place will come a Gopal Das. Now older than, as old as, when the degrees change, the methods also change. Finally, is becomes is not. My answer is Gopal Das is not as old as Radhanath, looks like a nobody. As old as Radhanath, right? So now it's time to recapitulate what we learned today. Let's practice it. It is an easy concept to understand properly. Let's take an example. Sri Lanka is as cool as Mumbai. Which degree is this first? First of all, we are supposed to change the degrees as I had told you to answer on the positive possible questions that you may get in your exam. You only need to know two things. Number one, to recognize three different degrees which we learnt in the table method: positive, as, comparative, then superlative, the. And number two, how to change the degrees is very simple. Type 1, in the positive, it is starting with no other or none or nothing. Is this example type 1? No. Is it positive degree? Yes. How do I know? As. Type 2, in the positive, there should be at the start very few or not many. Is this positive? Yes. Is this started with very few or not many? No. That means this is a type 3. The positive is neither starting with no other or none, nothing, nor very few or not many. So Sri Lanka is as cool as Mumbai. This is clearly type 3. What is type 3? None of the above. What are we are supposed to do here? Very simple. Swap the two things, swap the two degrees, and swap affirmative to negative. Let's swap the two things first, Mumbai and Sri Lanka. Let's swap the two degrees because superlative is impossible. So as cool as will become cooler than. We have swapped the two degrees. Positive has become comparative. Now just let's swap affirmative to negative. And my answer becomes Mumbai is not cooler than Sri Lanka. That's all for the day, students. In our next video, we will be solve many more examples of degrees. Hope you understood. Change the degrees by this simple method. Thank you.